Former Nebraska State Senator John Stinner, Sr. is a distinguished leader in politics and finance. Serving 2 terms representing District 48 in the Nebraska legislature, Stinner's commitment to public service is matched by his impressive professional accomplishments. A Pennsylvania native, Stinner migrated to Nebraska on a full athletic scholarship, eventually becoming a pivotal member of the University of Nebraska's national championship football team. His academic pursuits led to a bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's in economics from UNL. Transitioning from the gridiron to the boardroom, Stinner enjoyed a successful career as a CPA, culminating in his tenure as CEO and board chair of Valley Bank of Trust. Beyond his corporate endeavors, Stinner's dedication to community development is evidenced by his extensive involvement in organizations ranging from Scottsbluff and Gearing Rotary Club to the Christ the King Parish. Recognized for his contributions, Stinner has received numerous accolades, including the prestigious State Chamber of Commerce Business Hall of Fame Award of Nebraska Society of CPA Legislator of the Year. As our commencement speaker, Stinner embodies the spirit of achievement and service that defines Chadron State College. Please join me in welcoming former Senator John Stinner.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by thanking President Patterson, the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, for inviting me here today. It's certainly a privilege and an honor. This is truly a big day. It's not only a big day for you graduates, but for your parents and the support group that helped you along this journey. I say congratulations to you for the hard work, late nights, and hardships you've endured at arriving here today. I salute you and wish you the best. And now I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'm going to ask the graduates to stand. Please rise. I think it's only appropriate that you show your gratitude to your parents and support group for all of the hard work they have done. So please give them a standing ovation. Thank you. You know, your parents' heads are about ready to explode. How did this happen? You know, it was only yesterday they were taking you home from the hospital or walking you to first grade. And now you're getting a college degree. You know, I'm sure that they were listening to Cats in a Cradle on the way over here. Then there's a story of 2 babies that were born at the same time and they were next to each other in the nursery. 90 years later, they were in the same hospital and next to each other in bed, and they looked over, one looked over to the other and said, "How was that for you?" Life's a journey, and I can tell you it moves fast. M.K. Mueller wrote a book I would highly recommend. It's called 8 the Great. In it, he devotes a whole section to gratitude. He maintains that living a life full of gratitude is one of the secrets of having a more meaningful, joyful, and fulfilled life. One of Mueller's processes that he recommends is to journalize your gratitude. That means getting out of bed every day and writing down 3 things that you're grateful for and never duplicating any of those entries. His research indicates that people who have done this all have said they are more happy, productive, and more energized. You who will be our future teachers, wouldn't it be interesting to start your students practicing gratitude in grade school? Having an entire generation happy, energized, productive people living a life of gratitude, now that would be something to see. For the future leaders, here's something to keep in mind. Tom Rath and Don Clifton wrote a great little book called How Full Is Your Bucket? One Gallup poll in 2003 indicated 65% of the American workers received no recognition for their good work over the past year. The most astounding statistic was that the #1 reason people leave their job was they don't feel appreciated. My recommendation, if you're the boss or a leader, look for opportunities to praise and compliment good work. If a worker feels appreciated, they will be much more invested in your organization and in your project. And then there's people or things in our lives that we're eternally grateful for. They're the anchors and the transformers. For me, that was my mom and dad. We weren't rich. My dad was a mechanic, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And they were also part of the greatest generation, so they never graduated from high school. They had 7 children, and they were adamant that all of us would go to college, and we did. They felt college degree was a pathway to a better life. I think statistics will bear that out. My dad was a drill sergeant in World War II, and he instilled in me 2 guiding beliefs along with a strong work ethic. The 2 beliefs were always tell the truth even if it hurts, and always do the right thing even if no one's looking. My mom taught me to enjoy the little things in life. And looking back, I've realized that they were actually the big things. These gifts are pillars in my life, and I will be eternally grateful to my mom and dad. Another key to long-term success is embracing change. Let's take technology for an example. My last semester at graduate school, we had to produce a computer program, and in those days you went to a room and you punched these cards, and you had a big box of cards that were in sequential order, and the computer was as large as a classroom. And then you'd stuff it in there and it would spit out a whole ream of computer paper. Fast forward to today, that laptop that you use probably has 100 times more computing power than what that computer had. Your generation is on the cusp of transformational change. And don't take my word for it. Jamie Dimon, the chairman and CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, began a 60-page letter to his shareholders with the quote, "While we don't know the full effect or the precise rate at which AI will change our business or how it will affect society at large, we are completely convinced the consequences will be extraordinary. The impact will possibly be as transformational as any invention of the past several hundred years. Think printing press, steam engine, electricity, computing, and the internet." End quote. With the advancement of AI, there'll certainly be challenges, risks, and opportunities. There'll be jobs that are going to be created we don't even have names for yet. For me, embracing change is synonymous with lifelong learning. Continuous study in your profession will build proficiency, which will build confidence. With that confidence, you are more apt to take risks. Taking prudent risks throughout your life's journey can lead you down a new and exciting path. For an example, I started my business career in public accounting, which demands proficiency and a 5-part exam to prove it. In order to be certified, it also requires 2 years of experience. New pronouncements were constantly coming out and required constant study. When I switched to banking, I was accustomed to constant study that was required to be proficient. In my mid-30s, I had an opportunity to actually start a bank. Now, let me give you a little bit of the background behind that. The ag crisis in the 1980s, it was an agricultural crisis, hit western part of the state and the panhandle pretty hard. The sugar factory had filed bankruptcy, which caused a lot of farmers to also fail. 2 banks in Gering had failed. 2 S&Ls were about ready to fail. So everything was in disarray. But I thought it was a great opportunity to actually start a bank. So in 1988, with a group of local investors, we started Gering State Bank. Gering State Bank then evolved into Valley Bank and Trust, and then eventually Western States Bank. And we had branches in western Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado. I can tell you it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, but I will tell you also it was a labor of love. Additionally, as I was concluding my business career, an opportunity presented itself. I decided a good way to give back to my community was to run for the state legislature. Wow, was that a change. Normally in business, you pull your folks together and you make decisions and, they carry out those decisions. Not so much in the legislature. Actually, in the legislature, the thing you have to do is consensus building, which isn't the easiest thing to do with 48 independent contractors. You also need to forge relationships which will help you pass future legislation. But I can tell you, even though you spend endless hours in meetings and debate, I found the most important skill was not speech-making or verbal skills, it was listening. And I call it empathetic listening. Put yourself in that other person's shoes and really listen to what they have to say. By listening, it actually will either encourage you to have a more solidified opinion of a subject, or it may broaden your perspective. In today's polarized world, we need people who will listen. And I assure you that compromise is not a bad word. It's actually what made our country great. It's how democracy works. So in conclusion, work hard, be grateful, be a good listener, embrace change, practice lifelong learning, and most of all, be kind. Thank you.